Welcome, everyone, to the Aging and Spirituality Podcast. We're so happy you're here with us today. I'm Kathy Lee Taylor.
And I'm Chris Jensen.
And we are inviting you today to talk about a subject that so many people struggle with. Do you ever feel like you get stuck in your life? That word stuck, I hear a lot from coaching clients, right? I mean, sometimes it's things that you get stuck on every darn day. And sometimes it's a thing that you're stuck on that you've been dragging around with you for this life or lifetimes. It can really feel intensely like a block in your life. And we're here to tell you that it's not that you're stuck. The way to reframe this so that you can work with it, because when you say I'm stuck, it feels like I can't do anything about it. It's like, you imagine a car's tires are in the mud, right? And it's just spinning and there's nothing you can do about it. It's this big dramatic thing. But the truth is, when you feel like you're stuck, tell yourself that what is happening is you are resisting change. Because when you get that reframed, now you take your personal power back. Now you have a way to deal with it, because you can find out what it is that is keeping you stuck, why you're resisting change, what is it that you're afraid of, and you can do something about it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So hang in there. We're going to give you some tips on how to deal with feeling stuck, how to reframe it so that you can figure out what it is that you're resisting and how to let it go. These are really important things. So, I mean, like I was saying up front, not a day goes by where you don't honestly feel like you get triggered by something, some thought that comes along in your brain that triggers you, some situation that happens in your life that triggers you, and it just like grabs at the edges of your awareness and it's annoying, and your first reaction is, oh, let's just sweep that under the rug. I'm gonna pay attention to that. I'll do that later. I'm busy. I got to do this now. So here's the thing. It's really an unconscious reaction to want to not be in pain, to avoid it. Well, that doesn't mean anything. That's not my soul sending me a message. I'm just gonna get happy and pay attention to this over here, just ignore that. Well, guess what? It's going to come back. If it's really right, if it's really a place that you're stuck, it is going to come back until you pay attention to it. So triggers are things like, and oftentimes relationships that you're in, whether they're friends or family or work or whatever it is, oftentimes these are the people that are closest to you, so they are mirroring back to you what's happening, and they oftentimes will be your trigger. So one of the reasons you want to get good at this is so that you don't cause yourself a lot of karma in responding to these people who are closest to you in your life in a way that is harmful for you and for them, right? So these are actually opportunities to grow. So triggers are something like, say a friend says something to you that makes you feel hurt, like they criticize you or something, and they don't realize they're doing it, but all of a sudden you're feeling hurt. That's a trigger. You're driving down the road and somebody's having a bad day and they flip you the important finger and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything. I'm driving in another, I didn't do anything. But that's a trigger if you allow it to be. If you have that reaction like, well, what? Otherwise it's just a guy or a girl is flipping you the finger. Or maybe you're, at the grocery store and I don't know, you're having your sandwich and the guy forgot to put the mustard on it, and you get in your car and you're like, where's my mustard? And see what I mean? Like, these are things that they're going on all the time when you're working, when you're with your friends, when you're whatever it is that you're doing. They're endless. So the biggest tip, the most important thing that I can tell you today is that if you want to have peace, you got to pay attention to those triggers. No, it doesn't feel comfortable, but reframe that too. When you get triggered and you think, oh, damn, I don't want to deal with this. What you say to yourself is, this is a growth opportunity. I could be open and receptive to becoming bigger and better at this moment. And
can I learn from this, right?
And that's how we grow. That's how we get better and on the spiritual path, one little step at a time. And then eventually you get to where our age is, and you're getting good at this stuff, so you don't get all those triggers. So that's the good news, right, Chris? Like you don't none of those things bother you anymore. And so you learn how to live in a state of peace. So if you really want that state of peace, being able to have bliss, being able to have all those lovely emotions of joy and happiness and all of those things whenever you want to, you have to know how to navigate the water when it comes to these triggers. So, okay, so first of all, what you're going to do is pay attention to where the trigger is coming from. I often feel like it's a weight on my chest. Sometimes it feels like your stomach gets upset. That'll happen to me too. I often have, stomach irritations. And if I notice that's going on, I know something inside of me is really like holding on tight, it's a fear factor for me. For some people, they get headaches. It's like there could be a lot of dysfunctions in the body that are literally your soul triggering you, trying to tell you something. So those are important to listen to. And it really, depends on your personality and your ego's habits, how those things manifest. But these are the tricks of the trade when you learn how to pay attention to your ego and how it's acting and overreacting and how your soul would want you to deal with that. So these are really, really important steps that you need to take so you can understand when you're in balance and notice when you get out, and then take out your little toolbox and get back into balance, back into harmony of body, mind, and spirit.
I think that awareness is the key. If we can just be
always,
aware
right?
that, oh my gosh, I'm out of balance here. This threw me out. What's the trigger? What do I have to learn here?
Absolutely. Every time awareness is the first step. And that's where we mess up, because we don't want to, we do resist the change. So we just knock the awareness out. And if you do that, you're going down without a fight. You're going to get stuck in that cycle over and over and over again. So become aware of what's happening in the body. The emotions are probably triggered. Pay attention to your emotions. Tell yourself you have the intention to release that resistance to change. You want to know what's going on here. What is it that I'm afraid of? So you're taking stock of your thoughts. You're taking stock of your emotions and how they are expressing in your body and maybe in your mind as well. And what that's doing is really creating an internal guidance system for yourself. So again, you're going to figure out when you're off balance, and then you can get yourself back on. You want to identify what it is that's troubling you. And then that next step number 2 is you're going to ask for help, and not from anybody outside of yourself. You're going to ask for help from the ultimate source, the guidance within inside of you. That's what yoga is all about, finding out what it is that your inner self, that connection to soul, is trying to tell you. These are your lessons in life that you're growing from every day, growing with every day. I love this character, and I know I bring up Winnie the Pooh a lot, but that's because he's my favorite. And one of my favorites in this kind of a situation was Eeyore. Remember Eeyore? He used to talk like, might as well. He was always the the guy that was, I never like to call him like depressed, but he was just like, well, we might as well take care of this now, that kind of thing. I always think about that because it makes me laugh and it helps me go, okay, I can deal with this, So let's take an example of how you switch from when you got the awareness to asking soul for help, asking your inner self for help. So last week or whatever it was, I was playing tennis, which I like to do. I know I've talked about this before, but it's a great example. And I've really come to realize that tennis came into my life at a time when I really needed to make some changes with how I responded to people in a competitive space, because I took those places for granted in my life because I was so heavy into working in business and corporate, all areas that competition was totally accepted, But you get on the spiritual path, it looks a lot different. You don't, some of the things that you would do in that situation, you surely don't want to do to people in this situation. So anyway, I'm playing tennis, and I'm watching somebody that I know I played with before, so I know what their game looks like, and a lot of the people that are playing are social players, so they're not really interested in getting their game any better. So they'll make a mistake, and in my mind, I know how to fix it because I've been coached past a lot of these things that they're doing, right? So I usually tell myself, just keep your mouth shut. Girls just want to have fun. But I'll get in the heat of the game, and another point will get lost, another point will get lost, and I'll go, well, if you just step back behind the baseline, you'd have 3 more seconds to hit that ball, because that's what I've been told, right? And of course I did that, and immediately I feel bad. I'm like, she looks at me, I get that look like, really, Kathy? Like, you need to tell me that, because a lot of times they do know the answer, they just can't get themselves to do it,
Yeah.
So anyway, instead of feeling bad about myself, which is what I usually do with that situation, because I know I'm more competitive than more people, and I'm learning to really tamp that down. Instead of feeling bad about myself, I picked up the phone and I called her and I apologized after the game. I was like, you know what? I'm really sorry about that. It just comes flying out of my mouth sometimes, and I'm not trying to be critical. I just want to find somebody that'll be a partner with me, and that will play the game at the level that I want to play, because I want to be in that situation where I have, a good game that challenges me. So, I'm sorry, I'm really trying to learn how to not do that. And it turned out she didn't even care, just like ran right off her, it was no big deal to her. But to me, it became a trigger for me, because that now I'm not feeling good about myself again, like I'm not following my own intentions. I'm not, communicating in a way that I know I can be a way better communicator, and I can be way more kind. And if that person really wants to know how to play a better game, they'll ask, because they can,
That's
what I mean?
the key right there. That's the key right there. They will ask.
They will ask, but not in the middle of a game. So there you go. So having said that I took that discomfort, that trigger, and now I'm not feeling great about myself, and I did something about it. And then what I did is I went on to what I'm calling step number 3, and that is to choose a more loving response. And that's what I did by calling up and saying, you know what, I want to be a better friend. I want to be a better communicator. That's more important to me than winning the game. As much as my personality loves to win, it's more important to me now that I treat people well. And so that is a way of surrendering to your inner self. I feel like every time I take a step in that direction of choosing love over being right, I'm surrendering to inner self. Wouldn't you say that's true, Chris?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. When you choose love, it makes a difference not only for the other person, but for you too.
No doubt about it.
There's a peace to it. There's an openness to it. And it stays with you.
Because it transforms you, changes who you are. Yeah. So you do that other behavior less and less, like I'm doing the response to the competitive streak in me that was taught to me as a young child, less and less. I'm still playing tennis. I'm still having fun, but I'm treating people a lot better now. And I feel good about myself because of that, because that's more important to me now than just winning a silly tennis game. Doesn't mean I'm not looking for a partner. So I am, but I can play fun tennis and have, and make friends and be good about that. So that's what's really important, is that you learn to make that switch in the moment. What's the appropriate response for me in this moment in order to meet my intentions of staying in a loving place, in a kind place, and treating people like they're really important, because they are really, really important. I mean, some of us are people, and some of us are animal people, and some of us are people of the land. Whatever is important to you, those are the triggers that you have to learn to deal with.
And the thing is, when you're more loving and kind and balanced, your tennis game is going to be better anyway.
Well, I hope that's true. That would be like a good offshoot of what I'm saying, but we'll see, we'll see how it goes.
Yogis say yoga, I mean, when you're balanced, there's skill in action. And so
that's true too. Yeah. I mean, my coach, one of the first things he always said to me is that if you're playing good tennis, it's going to be relaxed. It's going to look effortless.
Right.
And in that process,
like anything else.
Right. But in that process, you have to understand the fundamentals of what makes the game work and how to win with the right stroke and the right this and the right that. Right. So there's a lot of work that goes into making that look effortless.
Right.
But when you have actually, and it's actually a life lesson when you think about it. When you play the game, you get in the game of life, you want it to be effortless.
Right.
And
Right.
that is how a yogi lives.
Right.
Effortless,
Mhm.
effortlessly in love,
Right.
loving people as you go, loving situations, loving opportunities.
Mhm.
That was a great analogy that you just brought up that really makes it clear what we're talking about here. When you're on the path, you stay in the divine flow of love. And when you're triggered off of it, get back on as fast as you can.
Mhm.
Scurry back on as fast as you can. So remember, be aware, make the shift, choose love. Okay, so these are really opportunities. Think about your day. What's happened in your day that is an opportunity to grow in love? Who said what to you that triggered you? Who did what that triggered you?
Mhm.
Think about those situations and apply what we're talking about here. Become aware of what it is that you're resisting. Think about what you would like to do in the ideal situation. If I was a loving human being and I could respond like a real yogi, like a Gandhi, like what would I do in this situation? Put the bar high, be a Gandhi, try to reach for it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You fall a little short. Oh, well, that's way better than where you start out, right? That's for sure. So if you want to really have a spiritually aligned life, keep doing these principles, letting go, don't resist change, be open to the divine flow. That's how you're going to make it easy for you to learn a pattern of staying in the balance of harmony, body, mind, and spirit. So,
And you will be much happier.
oh my gosh, the
You'll be so
potentials,
much
the
happier.
opportunities to
Yeah.
create life, right? To co-create in life are
Mm.
unlimited at that point. Truly, 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 it is an amazing secret. So good luck with your practices. Thank you for showing up. We're so glad you're here. If you have questions, please send them along.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Good luck with your triggers.
Yeah.
Bye
Bye.
for now.